Thank you, one. Thank you all that are tuning in for this Monday edition of the OTRS Central Q&A. Thanks to all of you that submitted your questions on Twitter in the future. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you're going to get Q&A episodes from me, the Schlag Daddy, here on OTRS Central. You want your questions answered, you go to Twitter, tweet your questions to @OTRS Central using the hashtag OTRS Central. Keeping it simple, stupid. Most especially important for somebody like me to be able to do that. Lots of great questions here. Also, make sure, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to this channel. I promise you won't regret it for the most part every once in a while. Are you ready? I think I'm ready. Let's get started with this Q&A. At Air458 asks, do you think we will see a championship scramble match anytime in the future for any or all of the titles at a pay-per-view? Who knows? Probably not. I don't know if I have a ton of interest in seeing it. I guess. I don't think so. I don't think so. NUFC Muzzy, why do you think that football, soccer, isn't as popular in the U.S. as it is in the rest of the world? I think part of it is socioeconomic reasons. Let's face it, soccer is perhaps the cheapest game to play in all of the world. All you need is something that will work as a ball and something that will work as goalpost. So, I mean, you don't really need a whole lot. And that's part of the appeal for a game like a soccer to be able to be so popular as it is all across the globe. When you look at America, though, it's a little bit of a different story. You know, basketball is also a very, very cheap game to play because all you basically need is a basketball and something you could use as a hoop. By God, you could use something like a hollowed out milk crate for that. Football, American football, that is, has been embedded into the American consciousness for years, and then the NBA, and then Major League Baseball. It's just a different society, you know. And when you look at it from an American standpoint, this is a country that is much more built off of instant gratification, maybe more so than any society in the entire world. And let's be perfectly realistic, even if you love soccer, it is not a sport with a lot of great instant gratification. We could play 90 minutes to a 0-0 tie, and what an awesome exhibition of footballing this is. That's not going to work in America, period. It's just the way it is. At Jono5411, if you could see one WWE superstar that is retired have one last match, who would it be and why? Hogan. Why not? Especially if it was like Hogan versus Cena. That would still be a big money monster match. Another person I'd like to see that's retired to have one more match would be Stone Cold Steve Austin. You know, I think he has one last big time money match in him, and obviously the matchup everybody wanted to see was him and CM Punk. Those would be a couple of guys that stand out to me in terms of guys that are retired that are still alive that I would like to see have a one more match. I know a lot of you are probably going to sit there and say somebody like a Shawn Michaels, and again, there's a lot of appeal to that too. I don't know if you could really have a wrong answer, but those would be my answers. At Z Awesome, do you think we will ever see Shane McMahon in the WWE again? And if so, would it help or hurt in your opinion? Never say never. When it comes to anything and everything pertaining to professional wrestling, you never say never. At this point in time, do I doubt strongly that Shane McMahon would come back to the WWE? Yes, I do. He's already taken that leap. He's already gone into parts unknown and seemingly done very well for himself. As a result, why would he come back? You know, would it help or would it hurt? In theory, it would seem to help because you're talking about somebody who's been around the business for, you know, pretty much his entire life, who was an instrumental player in the company's success for many years. But it could also hurt too, because who's to sit there and say that a Shane McMahon could run the company any better or any more effectively than his sister or his brother-in-law or his dad? Who knows? At Connor the Divine, what music are you into, and are you into any British bands? Is Oasis not the greatest British band since the Beatles? I really don't listen to much music. I used to listen to a lot more rap, but rap became crap, period. Oh, look at me. I've got 13 songs on this album, and all 13 of them have 2 or 3 people per song collaborating on the track. What a bunch of hot fucking diarrhea garbage if I've ever seen it. So I don't listen to much music anymore. Never was a huge music guy to begin with, but yeah, like I said, I used to listen to a lot more rap, but I have long since stopped doing that, and I recommend that a lot of you do the same thing. Stop listening to music because most of it is trash today. At Ahmed_LW, why are Adam Rose and Paige over with the NXT fans and not over with the WWE Universe. I think it's very simple when it comes from Paige's standpoint. They have presented her in such a shitty way that it would be almost impossible for anybody in her circumstances to be able to get over. The type of performer they allowed Paige to be and the way they showcased her on NXT is entirely different than what they're doing with her on WWE's television, and it makes absolutely no sense. As far as Adam Rose, it's one of those things, it's that type of gimmick that takes time to get over. It's not something that gets off the ground just like that. It takes time. So they're at least featuring him. They are at least presenting him in a way, trying to make you care about him a little bit. But Paige, they've done absolutely nothing to help her. I feel bad for her almost, even though I'm not a huge Paige fan. At AJ Lee _FT9, who would you rather see return to WWE full-time, CM Punk or Brock Lesnar? Punk. Not even close. Fuck Lesnar. At Sticks Rocks 1979. Do you think that TNA fans are part of the problem as it pertains to TNA, since they are always using the victims card every time anybody criticizes, it's easy for me to say, TNA in any way, instead of calling TNA out when they do something stupid? I will say this. I think the fans that have that sheeple mentality that excuse and justify everything that they do and always play the TNA victims card aren't helping. But let's be perfectly realistic here. If a company gets to a point where it is blaming the fans for their shortcomings, their mistakes, and their problems, then that shows just how flawed and how bad things really are. I don't think at the end of the day you can blame fans for that. I think you fully place the blame and accountability where it needs to be, and that is with the people running TNA, period. Frankly, the fans that use that victims card are only learning that from the management running TNA, who are perpetuating that stigma of the victims card. Those are the people that we need to be calling out. Those are the people that are solely to blame, not the fans that follow along with that sheeple mentality. At Kenny Kim asks, if LaCramp was in Bird and Jordan's era, would he be exposed? LaCramp. Yes and no. Because you're talking about a LeBron James who is a physical freak and a specimen. Now, I will always say I don't think he's as skilled as people want to make him out to be. He is the best player in the NBA. There's no question about that, and I don't dispute that. And he will go down as one of the all-time great players in NBA history. Again, I don't question that, and I don't dispute that. So for all you LeBron cock riders, hear me out once again. LeBron is a great player, the best player in the NBA. Has a chance, in my mind, to be one of the all-time greats if he isn't close to that already, and perhaps even become maybe the second greatest player in NBA history. But he also plays in an era where the level of competition isn't that good, regardless of the nutsuckers of the NBA today and the crap that they try to put out there. The quality of play in the league is not nearly what it was 15, 20 years ago. God forbid, 20, 25 years ago. And he plays in an era where if you touch him, it's a foul. If you do anything physical, it's a foul, if not a flagrant foul. And you're talking about a time in Bird and Jordan's era where you were allowed to be much more physical. You actually had those playoff fouls, if you will. So in a way, LeBron would be exposed maybe in the sense that he would face defenses and physicality that he doesn't experience today. But LeBron James is also an incredibly freakish athlete who has size and explosiveness and great abundance that a lot of people in that era would have trouble defending. So partially exposed, yes, but would he be a crappy player? No. Would he still be an all-star? Yes. Would he still be one of the best players in the NBA in that time? Oh, absolutely. So it's kind of yes and no. But I think his level of production wouldn't be as great because, again, the style of play at the time and the quality of the NBA as a whole, only true NBA sheep and morons, in my opinion, think that the quality of players in today's NBA is the greatest that it's ever been and the quality of play is the best that it's ever been. You really have to be a sheep and an idiot, in my opinion, anyways, to believe that hot garbage. At JGore492, what are your thoughts on Colin Kaepernick's contract and what effect it will have on future quarterbacks' contracts? My thoughts on his contract, I wonder why the 49ers didn't wait till the end of the season, maybe actually have him get to the point where he was ready to test free agency and then maybe franchise take him. I just don't understand why you would go so in on him so soon. maybe giving him the contract before he potentially won the Super Bowl this year was a bit of a mistake. Maybe that would have given him more incentive to improve his game enough to where he could win the Super Bowl this year. You could get past Seattle, and you could be an AFC team in the Super Bowl. In terms of the effects of his contract, though, I don't think it's as great as the media initially blew it up to be. Imagine that. Because there are certain things in there that protect the San Francisco 49ers as an organization. Yes, he has the potential to make X amount of guaranteed money, but it's not as cut and dry as it may seem. I think the contract, frankly, that has a lot more negative, dire consequences for the league and is already playing out, will continue to play out, is the Cutler contract. Some people will look at the Flacco contract and say that, but no. Flacco actually won a Super Bowl. Flacco made the playoffs until last year, every single year that he had been the starting quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens as his rookie season, and won a playoff game every single year, including winning a Super Bowl. Jay Cutler did none of that crap, and yet basically got Flacco money. He basically got Aaron Rodgers money for a guy that can't beat Aaron Rodgers. That's the contract that really has skewed things. That's the contract that will really fuck things up for the next couple of years. It's not Colin Kaepernick, it's Jay Cutler. Kaepernick's contract is a byproduct of Cutler's contract, no question about it. At Zach Pack 5150, who had more potential, Max Moon or Mordecai? The Shockmaster. At SA Wrestling Blog, do you think you will ever get another cat? Oh, I'm sure I will someday. Never say never. Do I anticipate it happening anytime soon? Maybe, maybe not. When you have Precious and Feisty, and then of course, obviously, for a lot of you, Smokey, how do you replace that? And getting another cat in some ways almost feels like replacing that. And as much as I would love to have another kitty, and as much as I'm sure Summer would have to love another kitty, and I'm not shut down to it, I'm in favor of it, believe me. It's easier said than done, and it's a hard thing to just get another cat because having a dog is one thing, but having a cat is something else because it almost feels in a way like I'm trying to replace a Precious or a Feisty or a Smokey, which is something that to me can never be done. At Punk21, is it too late to push and feature Alex Riley as a big star, and what do you think of his commentator role? As far as his commentary work, I think he's good. I think they should allow him to be more villainous, more heel-like. I think that's what he's better suited for, especially as a commentator. As far as, is it too late to push and feature him as a big star? No. Are they ever going to do it? It sure as hell doesn't seem like it. But it's never too late. You could never say never. You might sit there and think that's the case. But, the good thing with him was he had a limited time of exposure and then really had been largely out of the picture for the past, 3+ years. So, you kind of look at it and you say, hey, he's kind of fresh. You can bring him back and do whatever the hell you want with him. The possibilities are endless, and that's very well could be the case. DJ Ultradonis asks, who is a worse four horsemen, Jeff Jarrett or Steve Mongol McMichael? Oh, God. I don't think there is a wrong answer, but I'll go with Jeff Jarrett. He was just a little worse, even though Mongol was bad. And he also asked, are you a heel or face or real life? I guess it depends on your view and your perspective. I have babyface qualities, and I definitely have my heel tendencies and qualities. No question about it. I guess that would make me a tweener. At 12, Da Boy JSG, one of the first ever subscribers to the original Off the Rope Show channel, asked this question to finish out this Q&A. If you could pick 2 black wrestlers in WWE and repackage them, who would it be and into what? I would either repackage Kofi Kingston as kind of a gaming nerd, which is what he strikes me as, or as a suited up heel. And then in terms of another one, it would probably be Xavier Woods, and I would have him be something of an intellectual type of character, almost like what a Damian Sandow was. Because imagine how much that would catch you off guard watching the WWE to see a black wrestler being presented in an intellectual, intelligent, sophisticated, articulate type of way or style. Just think about that. Possibilities. Endless. But again, thanks to all you guys that submitted your questions for this Q&A. Coming up again Wednesday, Friday will be more Q&A episodes. Go to Twitter, tweet your questions to @OTRSCentral using the hashtag what, ladies and gentlemen? 321 OTRSCentral. Simple enough. I guess I'll see you again Wednesday for another Q&A. Stay tuned to this channel for more great content that'll be coming all throughout the week. You won't want to miss it, I'm sure of it, hopefully.